Good evening, everybody. It is Hugo Quintanilla here. I hope that you're having a great day. It's another episode of Live at 5 here with your realtor, Hugo. YourRealtorHugo.com is the website. My phone number is 240-389-4846. The email is hugo@lnf.com. If you have any questions or any comments, would like to participate in the show with questions or comments, feel free and send them through. I'm always happy to have them. And thank you so much for watching and tuning in. If you're on Facebook or on YouTube, let us know where you're watching from. And feel free and follow me at Instagram and on TikTok at Hugo, the number 4, Long and Foster. And I'll be there too with some short form content. Today, I also released a YouTube video, Buy a Home in 2024, Your Ultimate Guide. So go please and check it out and support. And thank you guys for all the just support, the feedback, and all the help with these lives. It's quite daunting, but it's been really rewarding and it has been really beneficial for me to better serve you with the information that you want to talk about and listen to. So, I know that there are tons of opportunities in real estate, and I know that sometimes you just need a little bit of a helping hand in getting started, and that's really what I'm here to do. So this is your 15-minute spot every day to learn a little bit more about real estate, the world of real estate, a different topic of real estate, and find out how it can benefit you as a home owner or as someone that's looking to get into real estate. Because truth of the matter is that we all need a place to live, and that's actually one of the biggest tenets of real estate, is that there is a scarcity model about it. And without going too much into that, basically that model says that there are only but so many properties out on the market at any given time. And because of that, the number of available markets is directly impacted by the audience that needs a home. So if the audience is bigger, those properties, of course, are going to go up higher, whereas properties might stay longer if they are not in a market that has the buyers to support it or the prices are too high. So what we're seeing, just to bring this back down to earth, is in the last 2 years, we've seen about a $600 increase in some properties, especially around the Montgomery County area. Almost I don't even want to get into it. We've seen the prices get very elevated very quickly. The important thing is to know that we're making up the difference on a lot of years, and sometimes that has um, really not been talked about. But at the end of the day, the difference and how stark the difference is and how fast the difference is, it's what's really impacting people. We also have elevated taxes that have changed in Montgomery County. So that's another thing that I think is not spoken about enough. But I can stand on that soapbox all day. At the end of the day, I'm here to show you guys opportunities in real estate. And one of the biggest opportunities, because I know a lot of you homeowners out there don't want to sell your properties, is actually leasing your home. Now, leasing your home can be difficult if you don't know what you're doing, if you are unprepared and don't have a goal or strategy. Sometimes it can be riddled with obstacles and have all sorts of pitfalls, but I'll give you a little bit of my knowledge on it and just a brief overview, because rentals to me have been such a integral part of my business. I know myself, as I was going into real estate, my first property was a rental. And then from there, most people's first property coming out of college is a rental. Most millennials out there will be dealing with rentals. So I'm seeing the demographics of who watches this. And I know that rental is what we know. But if you know kind of what can happen on the backside, being the landlord, you can kind of prepare yourself for the other side and the other opportunity. Because if you do the work, if you put in the time, if you work on your credit, if you save and get into home ownership, you can be that landlord one day. And it's not about making a quick buck. Let me very clearly state that out front. This is not about making a clear buck. I am a firm believer that if you develop a good business, you will have a good tenant and you will have a good rental. It doesn't take a lot. Honestly, the biggest thing you have to remember is quality, quality over quantity. You don't want to be greedy, and you have to be honest about the things that you're going to do and you're not going to do. You know, sometimes spending a little bit of money in the beginning preparation stages can go a long way. And I'll talk to you about what it takes to get your property ready to lease in Montgomery County. So let's jump into that and talk about some useful suggestions. I have this website that I will share with you. It is going to be crucial and the first place before you do anything else that you need to go. This is the site for the Montgomery County Department of Housing and Community Affairs, licensing and registration. Licensing and registration is responsible for issuing rental licenses to over 100,000 condominiums, single family homes, and multifamily units and accessory dwelling units under Montgomery County Code Chapter 29, Landlord Tenant Regulations. This is the place where you need to go get your rentals license. You need to register your rental because it needs to be documented. It needs to be up to code and it needs to abide by the rules of Montgomery County. So your first spot is to go there. The application is not much, and all in all, the application plus the inspection plus the fees will probably cost you under $300. So it takes about 2 weeks. You have to make an appointment. They have to come out and see the property. They will make you make changes if there is a problem with the property. Do not think they won't. It will be a very thorough inspection. So be prepared to have the property looked over. Key areas to look over for the property are going to be window frames and door frames, especially in older properties in Rockville and some adjacent areas, because those portions of the house tend to hold lead based paint. Lead based paint is the number one thing that you have to look out for in older properties, especially before 1979. It is crucial that you look at those properties and make sure that they have been either tested for lead free or have been remediated for lead, meaning that the lead has been encapsulated. They paint over it and make sure that the lead based paint is behind this paint in form that it will not flake off and will not get into the air. The danger of paint is ingesting it or inhaling it, but we just have to be mindful of where it is and where it's present. And the inspector will come in and test, make sure, different points of the home to see if there is lead based paint, especially in older homes, because they already know. The next thing, and it's a new regulation that has been put into place, especially since October 2022, I want to say, radon. In a rental property, we used to just have to do it for a for sale property, but now we actually have to do it for our rental leases. So a lease needs to have a radon test done for the bottom floor. So making sure that it has an up-to-date radon test is crucial. And it's just compliance at this point. Radon remediation, actually, let me rewind. What is radon? A lot of people know lead, a lot of people know carbon monoxide, a lot of people know, gas, natural gas and gas leaks and what that could do. But what is radon? Radon is unfortunately a natural occurring gas that comes out of the ground. It is all over Montgomery County. And in particular, in some areas like Rockville, it is present in the bottom portion of properties. So basements, floors, they connect directly to the at ground level. Those could all experience radon seeping in from the floor. There is remediation that you can do, meaning that for a fee, I believe under $3,000 in most markets, they will come in, test the area, make sure that the property has a certain air to radon mixture. There is a certain admissible limit, and I believe the um, permissible limit as of right now is zero point zero 0.04 picaliters. But I would have to double check that off the top of my head. But at any rate, it's a very small amount that's permissible. And the test shows, and if this test shows that there is too much radon to air, they can recommend remediation. Remediation would have to be done before the property is leased and before they um, get clearance on getting the license. So make sure that you go with a reputable company, that you have receipts, and that the work is done by a good, reputable brand. It's you have a good track record of that, because you don't want to have a poor piece of remediation, especially for something that's so easily in common as that. What is remediation inside that situation? It's not like lead-based paint where you have to paint over it or encapsulate it. What happens here is that they will have a tube that is connected to a fan and connected to a pressurized gauge. This gauge has a certain meter that will check the levels of radon to air. Whenever the air to radon gets too dense, so to speak, there's too much radon in the air, the fan will kick on and it will ventilate the area. Really, one of the best things you can do. Another natural way of taking care of radon is leaving doors open and letting fresh air come in if at all possible, and also having fans that help circulate air from the upper levels to the lower levels. It's not the end of the world, it's just something that you have to be aware of. Okay, some other stuff to think about when it comes to rentals. Give me 1 second. I think I closed my window actually. I did. Bear with me 1 second. I would highly suggest you, right off the bat, I can tell you, get a realtor. It's probably the easiest thing you could do. We were talking about processes and how to get started with a rental. And we have so much stuff already in place when it comes to testing and the application process and getting your property prepped and ready to go, that it is in your best interest to work with a realtor. You could spend a lot of money getting your property ready, and you need to know. I could tell you, hey, fix everything, but will you? So let's fix the things that are most important to tenants, the things that sell the most in your area, and make the property look as best as possible. That's my best suggestion. That's why I say quality over quantity. If you take the time to make the property nice, inviting, and pay attention to the tenant, 9 times out of 10, you'll have a tenant they will appreciate. And yes, things happen all the time, and there are tragedies and bad stories of tenants taking advantage of landlords all the time. But we go into this knowing that this is a business and expecting the best while preparing for the worst. We use high quality materials that are renter friendly. We don't go out and spend on luxury items. We're finding things that are easily cleanable, easily maintainable, easily replaceable if we need to, in between tenants. Remember, this is a business. There might be turnover. We have to think about pricing. And that's why I always bring up realtors, because we know the pricing better than anyone. We are not only going to advocate for ourselves, we're also going to advocate for you, because if you get a higher price, we get a higher price. So that is always the incentive there, that the open market really, for a good realtor, it pays the realtor, and it pays to work with a good realtor, because you will get that added benefit. You want to make sure you're in legal compliance. Ensure compliance with local landlord tenant laws, including rental licensing, safety codes, and required inspections. That's why I'm telling you, the first place you got to go to is Montgomery County Leasing and Registration. Cleaning and repairs. Prepare the property by cleaning thoroughly and making necessary repairs. This includes fixing any structural issues, addressing plumbing or electrical problems, and ensuring appliances are in working order. Making sure appliances are in working order. So that just goes without saying. How are you going to lease out a place without the place being ready to lease? And I see it all the time. Tenants having to deal with that and having to imagine what this place would look like already on the first walkthrough, it's very difficult. I'm actually currently dealing with a situation like that, and it is so difficult sometimes to get those things replaced. But necessity and sometimes the situation, it just, but we fight for you. And that's the other thing that a good realtor will do, is that they will advocate for you and they will stand up to another agent that might be trying to pass one over on you. And we know what's right. And I think everyone can admit to what's fair and not fair in real estate. But sometimes some people need reminders. And that's what we're here to do, is remind people of what is right by the contract and what is right by our clients. So we want to make it a win-win for everybody. It's not contentious, it's cooperative. Safety measures: installing smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, and ensuring safety features such as locks, lighting, and functionality. Making sure that these things work, that they are ready to go. It's just safety and security. Documentation: create a comprehensive lease agreement that outlines terms, conditions, and rules for your property. That should cover rent amounts, security deposits, tenant responsibilities, and other pertinent details. This makes it so easy to have that conversation with your realtor. You look serious, you look prepared, and you look like you know what you want. It's not difficult, but it will cut down on a lot of the questioning that we might have to figure out. Realtors come from all walks of life, and their patterns and their ways of doing business are all different. You might have a realtor that doesn't really do rentals. So having this stuff ready and prepared for them might be a great way to save yourself some headache. I would also suggest you work with someone that does rentals. Just saying. Marketing and advertising: use your social media expertise to market the property effectively. Leverage platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube to showcase the property's best features through high quality photos and videos. It is necessary nowadays to put the property out there and list it on a multiple list server, which is a dedicated system that realtors use to promote listings, residential sales, and commercial leases or sales. Have a tenant screening process. Implement a rigorous screening process for potential tenants. This may include background checks, credit checks, and verifying income to ensure they're reliable renters. I will make a caveat here. There is no background checks in Montgomery County anymore. You have to do everything based on credit checks and what happens on their verified income. Um, you really can't use background checks. It is not permissible, and there was ruling against it. So, in Montgomery County, is not allowed to use background checks to deny someone um, access to a property. Setting rent. Research the local market to set a competitive yet profitable rental rate for your property. Please set a profitable rental rate. If the profitable rental rate is too high for the market, don't lease, sell it, and take the money and go somewhere else, invest in something else, or maybe wait, because it might not be cost effective for you to lease right now. That property might not bring in the clientele that you need to stay in there long term, especially if the property has a lot of headaches. Don't expect the property to magically solve all its problems just because you are out of the property. You're leasing it. That just means someone's going to be paying for it, and they expect a certain level of service, not a certain level of headache and heartache. So be mindful of that when you take on the role of a landlord, that you are not just an owner anymore. You are a provider of housing, and you are responsible not just to the tenant but also to the county. And that is something that I always remind tenants, is that they have rights too. So landlords, please be mindful of your tenants and take good care of them, because they are the working night and day sometimes to pay for your properties. So it just goes hands in hands. You need tenants, and tenants need landlords. Property management plan. Establishing a plan for managing the property. Is it going to be you? Is it going to be somebody else? Whether you're handling yourself or using a property management service. Companies like Long and Foster have a management service that manages it for about 12%, I believe. But you have to contact them and just set it up. It's very hands off. So, you're off to the races. It's very easy to do. With other Companies, you might have to pay a premium. Who knows? It just all really depends. But think about that. Do you want to be on top of the property, or do you want to have somebody handle it for you? Because not everyone is cut out to be a landlord. Some people just would like to have the proceeds of it. And sometimes letting a little bit of the proceeds go for more peace of mind is the right way to go. Peace of mind is always key. Remember, eventually what we want is passive income. And the only way to make it passive is to really let go of the reins at appropriate times. Two, qualified appropriate people. Let me add that as well. Tenant moving in checklist. Develop a checklist for both landlords and tenants to document the property's condition upon moving in. It is important because that helps everyone have the same expectations of how it was when we moved in and expectations of how it was when we moved out. It helps to keep a record and document anything that might happen. I also highly suggest any tenant that has any problems to always document and film and record anything that happens in the property, just for your records, just to be safe. Communication. Throughout the process, maintaining clear and open communication with potential tenants, addressing their queries, and promptly and professionally talking to them is the best way to go. You just have to understand that you're running a business and get to them in a prompt fashion. Establish the best way of communicating, making sure that they know how to talk to you in a way that you know how to be reached commonly. For example, I mean, like, is it better email? Is it better text message? Is it better phone call? What is easier to get a hold of you? Are you going to be abroad? Are you going to be more hands on? Are you going to be here in the property? So, those are all things to keep in mind about leasing. It can be lucrative, but it can also be a headache. So take your time, consider the pros and cons. If you want to learn more about leasing and becoming a landlord, let me know. I would love to dive into it a little bit deeper. As I said earlier, rentals are very big in my heart as they have been such a big part of my career. But feel free and ask me any questions about buying, selling, leasing, or investing. My name is Hugo Quintanilla. This has been the Live at 5, your little space to learn a little bit more about real estate every single day. And my phone number is 240-389-4846. My email is hugo@lnf.com. And my website is yourrealtorhugo.com. Feel free to leave a comment, question, or feedback. And I'm always here to help. So if you or anybody you know needs help in real estate, feel free and pass them along this video or my information. Thank you again for watching on YouTube and on Facebook. I hope everybody has been having a great day back and being safe out there with all this wet weather. And I will see all of you tomorrow for another edition of our live. Thank you so much and take care.